TEESA is a TikTok sensation, having gone viral last week for her multi-part TikTok story called Who the F Did I Marry? In the over 50-part series, she spent over 7 hours explaining in careful detail what happened between her and her ex-husband. And man, she did have people hooked. With the obsession over short-form content these days, you know this story had to be juicy to get people sucked in for this long. And she said that she was telling the story hoping a woman or someone would be watching thinking it's okay to ask questions. Because she was asking questions in her relationship, and there were definitely a lot of warning signs that she says she wished she had listened to. So reesateesa is the username who has been posting on TikTok, whose real name is Teresa Johnson. And she is based in Atlanta, and in her series, she accused her ex-husband of lying about his family, wealth, and career. Honestly, there's just so many more lies as well, but that's pretty much the chunk of it. In the first few parts, she explained how they met, got engaged, and the process of moving in together. The red flags were flying from the beginning of their relationship, but with COVID thrown into the mix and an unexpected pregnancy, she looked past some things, but made sure to keep record as she did record things for herself so she could remember things he was saying that she felt were off. She did not include her ex-husband's legal name in the story and was referring to him as Legion throughout her TikToks. Basically, they matched on 2 different dating sites, and she explained that he had a different name on both of them, which is why she didn't realize at first that they had matched on 2 different ones. She said that on one site it was a full name and the other one was a nickname, so if his name was Matthew, on the other site it would have been Matt. When they were dating and they were talking, Legion told her that he had recently moved from California to Atlanta after getting divorced. He said he was working as the vice president of a condiment company, and the 2 of them moved in together rather quickly after meeting due to COVID and not wanting to quarantine separately. He had said that he used to play arena football and he had made a lot of money doing that and claimed to have a nice savings account, and he said he was looking to settle down, so they ended up wanting to look for a home to purchase together. Things got weird when they tried to purchase this home. The first time the deal fell through and the second time as well, and he was super sketched out when they asked him to show proof of funds, even though he said he had all this money, and he literally signed that he was making an all cash offer, but he didn't want to show proof of funds, so the deal fell through. He also claimed to have multiple bank accounts, including one offshore. In the midst of the struggle to buy a home, Teresa ended up having a miscarriage and was trying to heal from that and realized Legion was not proving to be a supportive partner through that. She said they were engaged to be married though. It was nothing romantic. They had previously gone ring shopping, and so while she was pregnant, he slid her the ring box at the dinner table and was like, it's settled, like we're gonna get married. And she does acknowledge that he wasn't the best and that the signs were there.
When I asked y'all to give me grace, it's because there's certain things that's just like, girl, what was you thinking? Trust me. There's no excuse. So there was never a, will you marry me? It was more of a, we're living together, we're having a baby together, we need to get married.
This man was all talk, saying he had money, good relationships with his family and friends, the ability to buy a car, a house. He said so much that she later says is all lies. And throughout this whole thing, Teresa says little details about incidents that explain a little bit of how she was so sucked into what he was saying. As many red flags as there were, he certainly tried to diffuse them, and she did question him a lot, but he always seemed to be able to provide something to her to make her then question herself or just throw her off completely. And let me just throw this in here for legal reasons. Everything that I'm saying in this story is just from what she has posted onto the internet and on TikTok. It's all alleged. I was not there for any of this, so I do not know any of this to be 100% true or factual, but I'm telling you a summary of this 50-part series that I watched. Now, in part 14, she talked about why she did stay as long as she did, and that looking back, she knows that she shouldn't have, but she was ready for marriage and she really wanted this.
A lot of what fueled me staying in this situation really was the fact that, number 1, I didn't want to be alone. Number 2, I didn't want to look stupid by having the relationship end so quickly for everyone to be like, we told you something was up. And number 3, I was ready to get married. And that, ready to get married, fueled a lot of stuff.
Teresa talked more about the recordings that she had of herself recounting things that she found off about him in their relationship, saying that listening back, she so clearly knew that something was wrong.
And again, I was still making my audio diaries. So listening back to it, I knew something was wrong. I admit that. I knew something was wrong. But what I thought it was, truthfully, was like, why does it seem like there's always something? It still didn't dawn on me how deep this something went.
A warning to others to listen to your intuition, I believe. But she noted that he was on the phone in front of her a lot, and he talked to tons of people from his family all the time in front of her. He would be on the phone talking about, hey man, yeah, like she's right here. Yeah, you want to say hi? Yeah, he says hi. Super convincing that he was on the phone. And he would call her while he was at work, so she just thought, he liked talking on the phone. She later found out that a lot of the calls that he made were fake, and we will get into all of the stuff that she says that he made up. But at one point, before the end, she had talked about a time where she had gone through his phone because he did give her the password, since she claimed that he preached being open and honest in relationships was important, and she saw him sending very spicy messages to women on Facebook, and she confronted him, and he said that it was not anything serious in those messages, trying to say that, it wasn't anything to be concerned about. But they ended up going to marriage counseling, and the counselor was concerned that they had only been married 3 months at this point and some type of infidelity was happening, and said that had they come to them for counseling any earlier, they would have told them not to get married. I mean, this man was married to her, and she claimed that he wouldn't even show her his bank accounts to put her mind at ease that he had the funds that he kept saying that he had. Obviously, not solid ground for marriage. She said that they continued counseling up until a week before that she left him, because yes, you guys, she did end up leaving this man. And to get into how she uncovered the truth about him and why she left him, like I mentioned, this man lied a lot, and things really escalated when she applied for a new job and needed his social security number in order to fill out an application because they wanted information on her spouse. When a background check was being completed on the two of them, she found out that the social security number that he had on the application was different from the one that he had given her when they got their marriage license, which back then she had looked up that number after getting the marriage license and nothing came up, so she thought maybe she had written the number down wrong or something. But when she looked into it this time, she found out who she was really married to. Information that revealed he never lived in California like he told her. He had worked as a temporary forklift driver. He lied about where he went to college, and his family members knew all about his habit of lying, and they did not speak to him. When she had confronted him about things like college, he said that he was a private citizen, so that's why there's no record of him. She later did another background check on him with a different company, and this is when she was able to find the name of his ex-wife. She was able to get her hands on their records, and it was clear that they had been living together in Georgia and divorced in Georgia, never in California. She says she saw that they were only married for 6 months, there was cheating, and she had filed to divorce him. In the documents, the ex-wife's phone number was also listed, so she wrote it down. Now, this is something to note, but in the midst of her going to marriage counseling with Legion, one day he had called her while he was at work and said that his stepdaughter had passed away due to COVID, and asked if it would be all right if he sent money to his ex-wife for the funeral. And of course, TEESA was like, yes, who would be lying about death? Well, she says that when she ended up reaching out to his ex-wife, she confirmed that her daughter was alive and well. And she also told her that everything Legion says is a lie.
I asked her, how was your daughter? She said, my daughter's fine. And I said, okay. She said, what did he say about my daughter? And I will be honest with y'all, I didn't have the heart to tell her. So what I said instead was, oh, no, it was, with everything with COVID, I think he mentioned that she might have had COVID or was exposed to it. I downplayed it bad. I wasn't going to tell that woman that he said her daughter passed away.
After this, she later discovered the obituary for Legion's mom, which listed the family members that she was leaving behind at the time of her death, which listed his dad, brothers, himself, and his wife, LaToya, who was not the wife that she had spoken with on the phone and didn't know who this woman was. And there were no sisters listed, but he had told her that he had 2 sisters. She said she was confused because on their marriage license, he had put that he had only 1 previous marriage, and she ended up looking into it and finding a record of this LaToya marriage, and it looked like he had filed for divorce against her, and both of them had a protection order against each other. And at the time of her doing all of this investigating, she said that he was nearly bedridden from a knee injury that he had gotten. And he wasn't lying about being in pain because he wasn't eating, he was losing weight really rapidly, and she wanted to go to the doctor with him to know what was up, but she said that he kept claiming that the doctor said to just ice the knee. She was suspicious of him, so she goes to look through his phone one day and sees messages with a woman named Peaches who was listing the prices of her services, if you know what I mean. And he told her what he wanted. She ended up seeing messages of him thanking her, so she assumed that they met up and he had gotten services from her. She confronted him on June 17, 2021, on his birthday, while he was in bed watching YouTube, and she told him what she had found about him and his lies, and said that she wanted a divorce. And she says that he was fighting her on it, and she told him to get out of the house. She said that at first he refused and then called his aunt and put her on speaker and said what was going on and said that, he never lied to her, and that's what made her snap. His aunt told him to leave the house because she was scared for him, and he did eventually leave. TEESA ends up hearing from his cousin eventually, saying that she looked her up and wanted to know what happened because this man is a known liar and none of them knew he was ever married. But he's coming around to his family, begging them to sleep on their couches right now because he has nowhere else to go, and he caught his wife cheating on him, and the guy that she cheated with threatened him with a weapon. She was like, "What are you talking about? He talks on the phone with his family all the time. How do you not know who I am?" And ended up finding out that he was faking those calls with his family and they were never real. And then she finds out that he lied about the family members that he had. The parents had 3 boys and no daughters, and she got a lot of answers and found out the family was not speaking with him at all. She ended up getting in contact with one of the brothers who cleared up even more and had things to say to her.
He was like, "I realized that every relationship my brother gets in, he gets worse." And it sounds like he is actually worse than what he was in the last relationship. And I thought he was talking about the ex-wife that I had spoken to. No, he had no idea there was another wife. Because again, he hasn't spoken to him since 2015. So he was like, "The best thing I can say to you is this." He said, "Thank God you ain't have kids with him." He said, "Get your divorce and forget you ever met this man."
She later filed for divorce less than a year into their marriage, and of course, he didn't make it easy on her, but she got it done. She says that she has not spoken to him since their divorce and does not plan to do so ever again. Now, this doesn't even begin to scratch the surface of the details that she gave about this man, so I urge you to really go and listen to it yourself. There is a reason it was hours long to get through this story, but now that the story has been put out there, things have gotten quite messy. Like I mentioned, she gave her ex-husband the name Legion in her story, but it seems like she did not change everyone else's names. Pretty much, if the person was a good person, then she left their name to just be normal. And given that she went into great detail in her story, the internet sleuths went on a mission attempting to track down the real-life character of the story. TikTokers managed to track down a man named Jerome McCoy, whose photos appeared to match up with the details TEESA shared about her ex-husband. Clayton County's legal records for him also seem to support some of her story, as there is a filing showing that TEESA filed for divorce from a Jerome McCoy in June of 2021. The records also show his previous divorce from a woman named LaToya. TEESA had mentioned in her series that she had found evidence of his first wife being named LaToya, so that matches up. And now a woman claiming to be LaToya has been posting videos suggesting she had a similar experience to TEESA, saying this man ruined her life.
Because it's been brought to my attention that my ex-husband is out here in these streets disturbing individuals as he always has, and I have been brought into this. Let me first say, this chapter of my life is closed. I have moved on. It's been more than 10 years. I'm over it. I'm done. I'm good. Okay? But after I say this, let's just leave it alone. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I'm not going to address it anymore because I have nothing to do with this. This is my past life. The book is closed. Okay? So Legion, as y'all call him, is a despicable, nasty, and vile individual. I fell for the trap over 10 years ago. Yes, he was charming, and I was broken mentally. Okay? Understand, self-love was not here at all for me to actually love myself enough to understand that this is not love. He manipulated me. He loved bombed me. all of the, oh, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that and everything else. Yes, all of these things were said to me. Guess what? None of it happened. He's manipulative and he literally tried to ruin my life.
Public records show a handful of arrests for Jerome McCoy, once for impersonating a police officer and then in 2016 for criminal trespassing. And since all of this was coming out, the man himself seems to be speaking out on TikTok. A TikToker posting under the name Jerome JC Rome McCoy seemed to respond to TEESA.
My message to her is please stop lying to these people and you can tell them the real reason I left you. You cheated. I caught you in the house with Bradley and we went to marriage counseling, didn't work, and we broke up.
On Tuesday, TMZ claimed to have gotten in touch with him, and he told them that he wants to take some sort of legal action against TEESA, claiming that he is not the man who he has been portrayed as in the TikTok series. He ended up posting more on TikTok on an account that now seems to be deleted, but after watching some of these, it's pretty easy to believe how he was able to have fake conversations on the phone for hours. But he's claiming once again everything is a lie and trying to defend himself.
You don't know something about somebody you dating? Ask. Stop trying to Google them or trying to find out stuff. And if they tell you right now, you know, it ain't necessarily none of your business, maybe you should just leave it alone. Everything ain't your business all the time about everybody. Every detail of their personal life when you first meet is not your business. It takes time and years to get to know somebody that way sometimes. Please allow the process to be the process and don't try to just dive in, because what you can do is end up putting your foot in your mouth and looking real stupid at the end of the day for saying something, making a comment about something you don't even know. So again, allow a relationship to progress, allow a person to tell you in their own time. Don't go digging because you never know what you might find. And then honestly, there's two sides to every story, so don't just sit there trying to Google people all the time, because Google wrong most of the time. Come on, man. Talk to the person you with. Stop all that foolishness, man.
He also ended up claiming that Netflix has been sitting down with him and he's going to be giving them his side of the story. And when people asked for proof, he posted a video on TikTok of what looks to be the Netflix office, but it was later revealed that he had just downloaded a video from someone else showing off the Netflix Singapore office and posted that on his story, pretending that he was the one that was recording that. And the internet has been joking that he's trying to fool us all next. After all the backlash he received, it looks like he posted this on TikTok, but once again, like, I'm not sure if this is 100% him. People are saying that it is, but this is, you know, this is what was said. Hey y'all, I really think I'm gonna delete TikTok. It's just not good for my mental health. All this really took a toll on me. I ain't lie about anything, nor did I ever badmouth any of these females. I'll let karma handle it. Y'all will see my truth on Netflix in a couple of months. The truth will be called Jerome McCoy The Truth. Until then, be safe, y'all, and stop slandering my name. Also, spin-off show to come in Singapore with other men who went through similar. I'm out. Sincerely, Sir Jerome David McCoy. TEESA also recently gave an update saying that she heard from his older brother, Chris, and cleared up the timelines for her even more, and also a diagnosis for Legion. She also shared that the family gave her permission to share this information publicly and that they are not upset with her for sharing her story. But some of what he lied to her about had to do with people he knew passing away, as I mentioned, and the brother was able to give her some more context to all of that.
Legion's older brother, Chris, reached out to my friend, Tracy Tripp, an attorney here in Metro Atlanta. He called her firm to ask how he can get in contact with me. He verified, because I was on speakerphone when she called me, that he was in fact the older brother. I felt comfortable. I called him from my personal phone. He and I spoke, and there were two things that he asked for me to clear up. Here it is. Number one, Legion's mother passed away first. His father passed away a few years later. It was at the father's funeral that Legion brought his ex-wife, and apparently there was an altercation of some kind between Legion and his older brother. They have not seen each other since the father's funeral. The information that I initially gave in my 50-part series was that they have not seen each other since the mother's funeral.
She says that while talking to the brother, he also talked about how their parents did try to help him out over the years.
Secondly, Chris wanted me to also let you all know that their parents, though they are passed away, the parents did everything they could to get Legion psychiatric help. At one point, they were taking him to different therapists and psychologists. He's been diagnosed as a kid with both bipolar and schizophrenia. I did not know this. Chris informed me today, Monday, February 26th, during that phone call, that their father came out of retirement to help pay for the medications. And as Legion got older, he refused to take them.
Since all of this, TEESA has received so much love from the public. Not only are people obsessed with her story, but they are loving her as a person, and several brands and companies have reached out wanting to treat her. In her story, she talked about a time where Legion had alleged he was buying her a car, and there were so many lies that happened here. He took her test driving these cars, got her all excited, and on the day that the car was to be delivered, it never happened. Now, BMW seems to want to get her a car, or at least people think that, because they commented on her TikTok saying, "Please hold, starting part 1 now." Then posted a TikTok onto their account saying, "On our way to find a dark blue BMW X5 with a cognac interior," which she had once said was her dream. At one point in their relationship, Legion had printed out an itinerary for a trip to London because he knew it was a lifelong dream of hers. Apparently, he went all out printing out flights, hotels, excursions, got her all excited, went above and beyond, but of course she says he did not actually buy tickets to London or make these plans. And so after hearing the story, several companies have seemingly wanted to give her the opportunity to go. Delta commented saying, "Your trip of a lifetime needs to start in Delta One. Flights on us." Hilton commented saying, "You want to do the most, and we're the hostess with the mostest. Let's get you the stay you deserve. Hashtag REESA in Europe." YouTuber Susan Yara even made a TikTok saying her and her husband love the series so much she would pay to send TEESA herself.
Can you just do me a favor? Will you tag REESateesa here, because I want to send her to London, just on my own personal time. I was so intrigued by her story. My husband and I sat there on the sofa flinging the TikToks, mirroring the TikToks on the television just so we could watch this. And I feel like we connected. We're besties, and I would love to send her to London on my own dime. I will treat her and her girlfriend to a wonderful experience because I think she deserves it.
TEESA did end up sharing that she has gotten the tickets to London and Paris and will take her followers along on the journey.
I'm going to London and Paris. I'm so excited. It is official. I get to go to London and Paris, the two cities I have been wanting to go to since I was in high school. And you guys, I'm going to make the most of this trip. I want to see Westminster Abbey. I want to see the Tower of London. I want to see Buckingham Palace. What up, Charles? I'm trying to see it all. Then I'm trying to catch a flight over to Paris, or should I take a train? I want to see the Eiffel Tower. I want to see the Palace of Versailles, the Hall of Mirrors. I want to see the Louvre. I want to eat an eclair at a nice French cafe. I want to experience everything.
So this crazy, insane story does seem to have a happy ending, despite the drama going down with her ex coming out and speaking out to the press and on TikTok alleging he's going to sue. But she clearly has the funds to battle him, if so, and I think the entire internet would have her back in the fight as well. And he clearly has not had the best track record with funds, so that would be quite messy if he were to proceed with that process. But as of right now, that's what's been going on in this crazy viral series. Let me know if you guys have been following along on this, and if you haven't heard about it before, I will link the full series below, because honestly, this is something that you want to hear all the little details about. So give it a listen. Let me know your thoughts. I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye, guys.